乡党 Chapter 10 1. 孔子于乡党，循循如也，似不能言者。其在宗庙朝廷，辩边言为谨耳。Confucius in his life at home was shy and diffident, as if he were not a good speaker. In public life, however, in courts and councils, he spoke readily, but with deliberation. 2. 朝与下大夫言，侃侃如也；与上大夫言，隐隐如也。君在，促及如也；语语如也。At court, in conversation with the junior officers, he spoke with frankness. With the senior officers, he spoke with self-possession. In the presence of his prince, he looked diffident, awe-inspired, but composed. 3. 君照使鬓，色薄如也，足气如也。衣所与立，左右手；衣前后，单如也。须进，亦如也。兵退，必复命曰：宾不顾矣。When his prince called to him to see a visitor out, he would start up with attention, make obeisance to receive the command. Then, bowing right and left to officers in attendance and adjusting the folds of his robes, he would quicken his step and walk out, not stiffly, but with dignity and ease. When the visitor had left, he would return to his place, announcing simply, "The guest has retired." 4. 入宫门，鞠躬如也，如不容；立不中门，行不履阈。过谓，色薄如也，足气如也，其言似不足者。设其升堂，鞠躬如也，屏气似不息者。出将役等，呈颜色，仪仪如也。眉睫趋近，亦如也。复其位，肃极如也。In entering the rooms of a palace, he would bend low his body at the door as if it were not high enough to admit him. In the room, he would never stand right before the door, nor, in entering it, step on the door sill. In passing into the presence chamber, he would start up with attention and speak only in whispers. Then, holding up the folds of his robes, he would ascend the steps leading to the throne, bending low his body and holding in his breath as if he were afraid to breathe. After the audience, when he had descended one step away from the throne, he would relax his countenance and assume his ordinary look. After clearing the last steps, he would quicken his pace and walk with ease and dignity to resume his place among the courtiers, looking diffident, with awe and attention. 5. 直规，鞠躬如也，如不胜；上如衣，下如兽；薄如战色，足素素，如有循；相立，有容色；司敌，于于如也。When he had to carry the scepter of a prince, he would bend low his body as if the weight were too heavy for him, holding it not higher than his forehead nor lower than his chest, and, with his look all awe and attention, walk with slow, measured steps. At a public reception in the foreign courts to which he was sent, he behaved with great dignity. At a private audience in such courts, he was genial and engaging in his manners. 6. 君子不以干邹事，孔子不以为谢夫。当属枕指细，必表而出之。缁衣高裘，素衣泥裘，黄衣狐裘。谢裘长，短又媚，必有寝衣，长一身有伴。胡墨之后已居，去丧无所不配。非为常，必杀之。高俅悬冠不以吊，吉乐，必朝服而朝。Confucius considered the following details necessary for a gentleman to observe in matters of dress. A gentleman should never permit anything crimson or scarlet in color to be seen in any part of his dress. Even in his underclothing, he should avoid anything red or of a reddish color. In summer, when dressed in a single suit of gauze or grass cloth, he should always wear something underneath, worn next to the skin. In winter, he should line a black suit with lambskin, a light suit with fawn skin, yellow suit with fox skin, His fur underclothing should be made long, with the right sleeve a little short. He should always have a change of nightdress, which should be as long again as the trunk of his body. When at home in winter, he should be dressed in a suit of fox or badger skin. When not in mourning, he may have any ornaments or appendages on the girdle of his dress. His undergarment, except when it is worn as an apron, one like the Freemasons now, on state occasions, he should always have cut pointed on the upper part. On a visit of condolence, he should never wear a suit of lamb's fur or a dark blue hat. On the first day of the month, he should always put on his full uniform when he goes to court. 其必有名医不其必辨识居必谦坐 On days when he fasts and gives himself up to prayer, he should always put on a bright, clean suit of plain cloth. On such days, he should always change the ordinary articles of his food and move out of his usual sitting room. 8. 食不厌精，脍不厌细，食易而和，鱼乃而肉败，不食。色恶不食，臭恶不食，湿润不食，不食不食，歌不正不食，不得其详不食，肉虽多不使胜食气，唯酒无量不及乱，古酒是复不食，不彻将食，不多食，祭于公不素肉，祭肉不出3日，出3日不食之矣。食不语，寝不言，虽蔬食菜羹，瓜祭，必其如也。The following are the details which Confucius observed in matters of food and eating. In his food, he liked to have the rice finely cleaned and the meat, when stewed, cut in small pieces. Rice injured by damp and heat, or turned sour, he would not take, nor fish or flesh which was gone. He would not take anything that had an unwholesome color or unwholesome flavor, nor any articles of food which had been spoiled in cooking, nor anything out of its season. Meat not properly cut he would not take, nor any dish served without its proper sauce. Although there might be plenty of meat on the table, he would never allow the quantity of meat he took to exceed a due proportion to the rice he took. It was only in wine that he did not set himself a limit, but he never took it to excess. He would not take wine or meat bought where it had been exposed for sale. He would always have ginger served on the table. He never ate much. After a public sacrifice, he would never keep the portion of meat be received overnight. The meat he used in sacrifice at home, he would never keep over 3 days. If kept over 3 days, he would not allow it to be eaten. At table, while eating, he would not speak. When in bed, he would not talk. Although he might have the plainest fare on the table, he would always say grace before he ate. Footnote 52. An ancient custom in China equivalent in meaning but not exactly the same as the saying grace in Europe. This custom is, I am told, observed in some country places in China to this day. The saying grace consists in setting aside a very small portion of the rice or meat on the table and offering it to the powers to which the offrant is thankful that he has it to eat. 9. 席不正，不坐. In ordinary life, unless the mat used as a cushion was properly and squarely laid, he would not sit on it. Footnote 53. In ancient China, as now in Japan, among the people, there were no chairs. People, even kings and princes, sat on mats on the floor. 10. 乡人饮酒，仗者出，斯出矣。乡人挪，朝服而立于坐阶. When at a public dinner in his native place, he would always leave the table as soon as the old people left. In his native place, on the occasion of the purification festival, when the procession of villagers passed his house, he would always appear in full uniform on the steps of his house, standing on the left-hand side of the house. Footnote 54. In old China and in most Eastern countries, sanitation forms a part of religion, not enforced by police or gendarmes. 11. 问人于他邦，再拜而送之。康子馈要，拜而受之。曰：秋未达， 不敢尝。When he had occasion to entrust a message of inquiry after the health of a friend in another country to any person, he would always, on the person entrusted with the message leaving him, make obeisance twice and see him to the door. On one occasion when a noble, who was the minister in power in his native state, sent him a present of some medicines, he received it respectfully, but said to the messenger, "Tell your master I do not know the nature of the drugs. Therefore I shall be afraid to use it." 12. 纠纷。子退朝，曰：商人乎？不问马。On one occasion when, as he was returning from an audience at the palace, he heard that the state stable was on fire, his first question was, "Has any man been injured?" He did not ask about the horses. 13. 君次时，必正席先尝之；君次兴，必熟而见之；君次生，必触之。事时于君，君既先犯。即君视之，东守，驾朝服，脱身。君命诏，不似驾行矣。When his prince sent him a present of a dish of cooked meat, he would always have it properly served on the table, and he himself would taste it before he allowed others to taste it. When his prince sent him uncooked meat as a present, he would have it cooked and then offer it first in sacrifice before his ancestors. When his prince sent him a live animal, he would keep it alive. When he had the honor to sit with his prince at table, after the prince had said grace, he would first taste the dishes. When he was sick, on his prince coming to see him, he would lie with his head to the east and have his court uniform lay over him with the girdle drawn across. When he received a summons from his prince, he would immediately go on foot, without waiting for his carriage. 14. 入太庙，每事问。When he attended the service at the great cathedral, ancestral temple of the reigning prince, he always inquired what he should do at every stage of the service. 15. 朋友死，无所归。曰：与我病。朋友之馈，虽车马，非祭肉，不拜。When any friend died who had no one to perform the last offices, he would always say, "Leave it to me, I will bury him." When friends sent him presents, although these might consist of carriages and horses, he would not on receiving them make obeisance. The only present which he received with an obeisance was meat which had been used in sacrifice. 16. 寝不施，居不容。见其衰者，虽瑕，必变；见绵者与骨者，虽懈，必以貌。胸腹者视之，是腹板者，有成传，必变色而作；迅雷锋烈，必变。In bed, he was never seen to lie straight on his back like a corpse. In ordinary life at home, he would never use formality. When he met anyone dressed in deep mourning, although the person might be a familiar acquaintance, he would always look grave and serious when he met with an officer in full uniform or a blind person. Although he himself might be in undress, he would always behave with ceremony and punctiliousness. When driving in his carriage, on meeting with a funeral cortege, he would always bend his head forward out of the carriage, to bow. He would behave in the dim way when he met the procession carrying the mortality returns of the population. At a dinner, wherever a dish and grand tenue was brought to the table, he would look serious and rise up to thank the host. On a sudden clap of thunder or during a violent storm, he would look grave and serious. 17. 生车，必正立直随。车中，不内顾，不及言，不亲止。When about to mount his carriage, he would stand in a proper position, holding the cord in his hand. When in the carriage, he would look straight before him without turning his head. He would not talk fast or point with his fingers. 18. 色思举矣，降而后及。曰：山梁辞志，实在。实在。子路共之，三袖而坐。As they turned to look at it, it instantly rose and, hovering about, it settled again. Somebody said, "Ah, fastened on the hill." Ah, fastened on the hill. You know the times. You know the times. Confucius' disciple, the intrepid Xiang counted over 3 times. Then, suddenly understanding the meaning of the remark, made an exclamation, rose, and went away. Footnote 55. Chinese commentators give up the passage in this section, confessing they cannot understand its meaning. Sir Chaloner Alabaster, however, has discovered a very good explanation of this passage which unfortunately we cannot exactly remember. We here make a guess of his explanation from memory.